Hi, welcome to your channel, Generous, Gracious, and Gallant. I'm your host, Dr. Ghosh, and I'm back today with another awe inspiring story for all of you. Friends, the inspirational person I'm going to be speaking to you about today is a British World War II fighter pilot who, flying against the best Nazi pilots, claimed 26 victories and damaged another 11 enemy aircraft in air combat. This he achieved while flying with two prosthetic legs. Amazing? Let's hear his story together. The person I'm speaking to you about is Sir Group Captain Douglas Bader. He was born on 21st February 1910 in London to Frederick Robert Bader and Jessie Scott-Mackenzie. His father saw action in World War I and died in 1922 of complications arising from the wounds he sustained in World War I. His mother quickly remarried, and his stepfather did not take an active interest in young Douglas's growth and development, and this resulted in Douglas Bader becoming unruly. He was sent off to boarding school at Temple Grove School. There, young Douglas Bader made a name for himself as an energetic student who took part in multiple sports activities, and here is where he became passionate about flying. In 1926, he joined as a flying cadet officer in the Royal Air Force. 1928, he took his first flight on 13 September in a Avro 504. He did his first solo flight on February 1929. On 26 July 1930, he was commissioned as a flight officer in the 23rd Squadron of the Royal Air Force. He started flying the Gloucester Gamecocks and Bristol Bulldogs. He became passionate about acrobatic flying, and his squadron had won the Hendon Air Show in acrobatic flying in 1929 and 1930. 1931, as an acrobatic fighter pilot, he successfully gave his squadron another title in the Hendon Air Show. Douglas Bader was a rash pilot. He did not believe in safety norms. The deck given to acrobatic pilots in those days was 500 feet, below which they could not come during practice flights. Douglas Bader, in his brashness, chose to ignore these ceilings as he regarded these as excessively safe, safe norms, and during one such training flight where he was undergoing training for the 1932 acrobatic show, he ignored the safety laws one too many times and had his aircraft crash. On 14 December 1931, both his legs had to be amputated. However, despite what I said about his brashness, Douglas Bader was a very determined and courageous young man. He overcame all the odds and a short span recovered and went back to flying with prosthetics in June 1932. The amount of pain and difficulty young Bader would have faced on the road to recovery and the additional pain of fitting prosthetics to his body can only be imagined. He was declared fit for flying and flew with prosthetics in June 1932. However, bureaucracy has a way of putting impediments in the way of determined and capable young men, and the RAF decided to part ways with him in 1933, whereupon he joined Shell Petroleum. 1939, war clouds were looming over Europe, and young Douglas Bader requested the RF to take him back as a pilot. He was sent to Service Selection Board to be tested as a pilot. He rejoined RAF and progressed to flying Spitfires and Hurricanes. He saw service in the Battle of France and the Battle of Britain. In the Battle of France, he first tasted combat victory with the Squadron 222 of the RAF. In 1940, he shot down a Massachusetts Bf 109 on 1st of June. On the same day, he further achieved 5 more aerial combat victories, again, all of them the famed German Massachusetts Bf 109. On his next patrol, he shot down a Heinkel HE 111, and on 4th of June 1940, he shot down a Dornier DO 17. On 28th June 1940, in view of his combat abilities and experience gained, he was posted to command the 242 Squadron, which was facing extremely low morale, and he transformed this squadron, the 242, into an effective fighting force. One of the things which came into play was that when fighter aircrafts fly their aircrafts, they face tremendous G forces. This results in blood draining from their brain to their extremities, that is, to their legs, and where, when faced with extreme G forces, the pilots conk off. But because Douglas Bader had no extremities, that is, no legs, he could tolerate greater Gs than other fighter pilots, and hence, this was one of the factors which enabled him to gain multiple victories. Every silver cloud has a silver lining, and the loss of 2 legs in an acrobatic flying incident proved to be a blessing for him in aerial combat. In the Battle of Britain, which the Germans christened the Operation Sea Lion, where the Germans wanted to gain supremacy over Britain's skies, on 11th July, he took his first victory with his new squadron when he shot down a Dornier DO 17. Later, on the same day, he shot down 2 Nazi Messerschmitt Bf 110. On 30th August 1940, he further brought down 2 more Bf 110. On 7th September 1940, 2 further Bf 109 and a Junker Ju 88. On 9th September, he shot down another Dornier in aerial combat. On 14th September 1940, he was awarded with the Distinguished Service Order for combat leadership. On 11th September 1940, Having got the DSO, he took off on another mission, and on 15 September 1940, he damaged another DO-17 Junker 88 and shot down another Dornier 17. On 18 September 1940, he shot down both a Dornier 17 and a Junker 88. On 27 September, he shot down another fighter aircraft, the Massachusetts Bf-109. 18 March 1941, based on his experience and supreme combat abilities in the sky, he was promoted to wing commander and many other squadrons were placed under his command. He continued to lead his squadron from the front, and on 17th May 1941, he shot down another enemy fighter aircraft 109. 21st June 1941, another Massachusetts 109 was shot down by him. 25th June 1941, another fighter aircraft. 25th July, 2nd July 1941, he was given a bar to his Distinguished Service Order. On 2nd July 1941, he shot down another Bf-109, another one on 4th July 1941, another one on 6th July 1941, and 12th July 1941, in addition to damaging 3 more enemy fighter aircrafts. On 23rd July, he shot down another Bf-109 in aerial combat. He flew in 1941 between March and August, totally 63 sorties over France and Europe. His wingmen and other pilots became exhausted, but Douglas's enthusiasm for ensuring further aerial combat victories was undiminished. It was on 9th August 1941, during another sortie, that he engaged 3 enemy aircrafts in aerial combat, and though he successfully destroyed 2 of the enemy aircraft, the third enemy aircraft shot him and his aircraft went into a spin. When Douglas opened his flight canopy and jumped out of the aircraft, his prosthetic leg was stuck in the aircraft. He was successful in pulling his ripcord, and only when some distance away from the aircraft did his strap pull away from the aircraft and separate him from his leg, which was still stuck in the fighter aircraft. He was captured upon dropping to the ground by the German forces. His accomplishments in the air were well known by the German pilots, and he was treated with dignity and honor. When he went to the hospital, he tried to escape from there, and he had the audacity to ask, when brought to the German airfield and being shown an Massachusetts Bf-109 enemy fighter aircraft, he asked a fighter pilot there whether he could take it around for a spin in an attempt to escape. The German fighter pilots laughed and sent him away. He was transferred to a POW camp where he made multiple attempts to escape and once successfully escaped for 3 days before being recaptured. On being recaptured, he was warned that his legs will be taken away from him, his prosthetic legs, if he tried to escape one more time. But he paid no heed to this and made further attempts, where in 1942 he was sent to Colditz Castle, which was considered an unescapable POW camp. He was there till 15th April 1945 till his liberation. During the Battle of Britain and in the Battle of France, Wing Commander Douglas Bader shot down 26 enemy fighter aircrafts and further damaged another 11 fighter aircraft during aerial combat. He retired as a group captain from the RAF and he rejoined Shell, which had employed him when he was down and out because of his amputation of his leg and he was moved out of the RAF in 1933. Not because there were not other companies available who are willing to pay him more, but because he wanted to repay the debt which he owed to Shell for employing him when he was an amputee and moved out of the RAF in 1933. He rejoined Shell for another reason that Shell gave him company owned light aircraft to fly across the country on his multiple lecturing tours. He retired as the excuse me, managing director of Shell as 1969. His biography Reach for the Sky was published in 1954 and then also made into a movie. He was honored with a DSO, as I've also already mentioned to you, in 1940. 1941 was honored with a Distinguished Flying Cross. 1941 he was also given a bar to his DSO. He was given the OBE, Order of the British Empire, in 1956, and 1976 he was knighted by the Queen. He campaigned rigorously for the right of disabled people. He also was awarded a doctorate in science by the Queen's University. Due to his failing health, he took up the last flight of his life on 4th June 1979 and he met his maker on 5th September 1982 after dinner at an Air Force station in Britain. Friends, Sir Douglas Bader, Group Captain of the Royal Air Force, an amazing fighter pilot who chose to remain in the service of the Royal Air Force despite having suffered double amputation of his legs during a training aerobatic flight. This double amputee went on to achieve 26 air combat victories over Nazi fighter aircrafts despite his disability, and another 11 enemy aircrafts he damaged. He also went on to campaign rigorously for people with disabilities after his retirement from the Royal Air Force. Friends, I'm sure all of you like these inspirational stories which I bring to you regularly on your channel, Generous, Gracious and Gallant. I request you to kindly subscribe to the channel by pressing the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you receive an update every time I release a new video for you. Friends, I'm also a firm proponent of the concept of difference to one. Mankind is facing its biggest battle against the infamous COVID-19 virus. And this is the time that those of us who are relatively unaffected by this virus need to stand up and be counted against this battle, against this infamous COVID-19 virus. Lakhs of our fellow human beings have been affected by this virus. Economically, they have lost their jobs, they have faced migration to far off places in search of livelihood, and many, many millions have lost their lives. During these times, those of us who are still able and have not been affected so badly by this virus need to stand up and make a difference to someone in our community who needs our help. Trust me, my friends, your act of kindness will not go unnoticed and will make a difference, the ripples of which will go far and wide. Also, while you choose to make a difference to someone in your community, please also stay safe. We are expecting the second wave of the COVID 19 virus, which is said to be potentially much, much more dangerous. And it is during these times that you need to remain safe yourself. Wear a mask always whenever you go out, avoid crowded places, stay at home as much as possible, maintain maximum hygiene standards, ensure that you follow proper hygiene standards, wash your hands regularly, avoid contact of unwashed hands with your face, eyes, and nose, which is called as the triangle of life, and wear a mask whenever you go out. If you are safe and you are a COVID warrior, you can make a difference to others in your community. If you yourself are affected, then you need help yourself. Forget about helping others. So, be a COVID 19 virus warrior and protect yourself, your families, and then go on, make a difference to someone in your community. Friends, till we meet again with another inspirational video on your favorite channel, generous, gracious, and gallant. Good luck, all the best, stay safe, and make a difference to someone in your community. Thank you.